Hi everyone, it's Rax. The Diablo 4 Season 10 PTR kicked off today, and what we saw earlier is I think this patch is significantly better than the other ones, where they're actually trying to completely redo some of the game modes and make some of the balance changes and add some theory crafting to the game. A step in the right direction. So I played it for about 3 hours today. I want to take you through all of my feedback and just see what we have real quick after a word from today's sponsor. Guys, today's video is sponsored by Rocket Money. I first downloaded the Rocket Money app about 5 months ago, and after logging in, one of the first things that I noticed is there was a nearly $200 annual subscription that I needed to cancel. A few clicks on the app later, and it was gone. Then I started looking at its breakdown of some of my other subscriptions, and while I meant to have the other ones, a lot of them had risen in price over the years, and this is another feature that the app has that can help you lower your bills. So I used that feature, and it lowered some of the cost of some of my recurring monthly subscriptions by a pretty significant amount, more than I thought it would. So besides that, Rocket Money can also help you budget and plan for future goals, among other things. So if you'd like to try Rocket Money, you can download it for free right now at the link below and see how much you can save. I'd like to thank Rocket Money for sponsoring this video, and now let's get back to it. All right, so among other things, there's a lot of other things in the patch, but the meat and potatoes of the entire thing is they're redoing Infernal Hordes. And they're doing two different things here. First of all, they're redoing the actual hordes, which you can see there's some different options right here in front of you. And they're also having a baby version of the Infernal Hordes called Fleeting Hordes, which you can run to level up and get gear pretty much away, so you don't have to do the campaign. And they also added last season doing the earlier nightmare dungeons for leveling up, just giving you more different options. So the first thing I did was I tried the Fleeting Hordes, and it probably would have been better if I had tried it with a low-level character, but instead I slapped together the quickest Hydra sorcerer I possibly could and went in here. I guess it should be a full disclaimer here. The gear here is quite good. It's not perfect by any means. I just took whatever masterworks I got. I just threw some temperings on there and things like that. But I would still say that this character's gear is probably going to be far superior to whatever you're going to see from let's say a standard build. But when I did the Fleeting Hordes, it did seem like a good option for leveling. For example, when you got to the end of the 4 waves, one of the options that you could pick was a chest that looked like it just gave you a ton of XP. So that's obviously one of the most valuable rewards you can get while leveling. So that was nice. But one thing that didn't really seem to function so well in the Fleeting Hordes was your ability to stack rewards. When you only get 4 waves, you really don't get anything going. And I only finished with 53 ether at the end of the run. And the big chest to get a bunch of rewards cost 100. So I went in with a T4 caliber character into this leveling thing, and I didn't even get half of the required ether to open a single chest. Now, maybe this was because I didn't get any of the special portals, or maybe I had a bad strategy, but that's something that Blizzard might want to look into, because otherwise I just ran straight for the XP chest and bought that. Now we get into the real game mode, the Infernal Hordes. So the one thing that I really like about the Infernal Hordes, which you might see here, is they added the option for Chaos Portals. And when you get a Chaos Portal, it gives you something completely different, usually something more challenging for a much greater reward. Right there, the Chaotic Offering there on the left. And then, so you're not exactly sure what you're going to get, but it seems to be very, very worth it, to the point where every time it spawns, it is something that you will choose. One of the best things that you can get is just a billion treasure goblins spawning for 1 to 2 straight minutes, and the amount of ether that you get from that is far and away better than anything else. My piece of feedback here, which I'll get into later, something that I kind of wish they had did a little bit more, is they're moving in the right direction for Infernal Hordes. They're trying to essentially enable you to make a strategy or a full build within here for getting the rewards. But for a couple of different reasons, like for how the Chaos portals spawn and how they're tuned, it doesn't quite work with this version that I played with. I'll get more into that in a second. Some of the choices that they made, although the choices are better, are a little bit strange. For example, one of them is spires. The little spires spawn less often, but they give you more rewards. So it's okay. Let's think about that. If you want spires, if you're making your strategy off of spires, then spawning them less frequently hurts you. Yes, it's offset by it gives you more rewards, but for example, some of the other powers that go into spires are things like the enemies that you kill within the circle give you 1 ether each. So it's spawning less frequently kind of negates your ability to kind of stack them and make a really cool like strategy and build out of it. The other way you can think about it is, let's say you're building a different strategy around masses for this run, for example, and then you want to pick this so you don't get the spires. You don't want them to spawn, and so you pick it just so they're less frequent. Hopefully you get more of the other things. Then the secondary bonus there becomes useless. The fact that they give you more ether when they do spawn doesn't synergize with what you're doing either. And it's not like every single choice needs to be perfect, but as I was sitting there trying to strategize for it, it was kind of difficult for me again to make a full strategy out of the options that they had given me, which is the direction that I think that they're trying to go in. Another thing is, if you remember one of the old powers, a powerful demon emerges and it gives you 75 ether if you kill him. Fine. So I clicked it and it was the same burning butcher every single time, even on multiple runs. It's always the same burning butcher. I wish they would change that up a bit. That would make it a lot more interesting. But another thing, like with some of the other abilities, or some of the other choices, like the masses and some of the spires, they could have made this into a build as well. Like on wave 1 or 2, if you get the powerful demon is hunting you, and then maybe it's the butcher, or maybe it's a vampire, or whatever. Then, and even more powerful demons are on your scent. Then maybe it spawns a few bosses, and then maybe if you keep getting it, maybe it spawns Lilith and she gives you 500 ether. There could have been a progression there. I think that might have been a bit of a missed opportunity, something further that they could go with rather than just the one-off, it's always the burning butcher kind of thing. I did the Bartok fight. I accidentally killed him even on Torment 4. My Hydra's running around here, and again, I don't have perfect gear at all. Some of my Hydras were hitting for like 7 or 8 billion a hit with one fireball. So, we know that the balancing still isn't there. But one of the times that I fought Bartok, I just killed him instantly, and I didn't even get to fight him. So then I took off all the skills. I took off all the skills on my bar. Let me get rid of this stupid message down here. I took off all the skills on my bar, and I fought him for a while. And I think the design of the boss is better than a lot of the other boss designs that we have had. He has some mechanics. There's some stuff with the environment that you can do, to fight him better and things like that. There is a bit of a strategy to it. And I think it will be challenging for some people. Some people, by the way, here's all the goblins. Look at this. Look how much ether is spread everywhere, all over the floor here. This is why these chaos portals are so amazing. You just have like a minute or two just to kill as many goblins as you possibly can. But I think they did a decent job with the Bartok fight. It's a little bit simple, but it's not supposed to be like a pinnacle boss, so better than what I've seen. And So now I think would be a good time to talk about the builds thing. So one more random piece of feedback here that I want to share after I pick up all this ether that you can see as I move to the middle. I'm going to pause it here. I played some other roguelikes lately, and one thing that almost all of them universally offer is when you're making your choices, they give you some kind of UI or some kind of pop up or anything to actually compare the choices and make your decision. You want to know what you get here? You get the name of it. I moused over this one, but the transitive spires. Do you know what that is? And the answer is for 99% of you is no. You have to mouse over it, read it, memorize it, and at a certain point, if you ran enough of these, if Diablo 4 is your favorite game and you're blasting it all the time, you will memorize just from the name what it does. But most people will not have that memorized. I don't have it memorized because they just changed all of the powers. So I would love a UI that when we're making our choices, something that lets me compare the three choices a little bit easier. I know that takes away from the fantasy of walking over to the actual little pillar here or whatever, but I would love to be able to make a more informed decision without walking over here, mousing over it, walking over here, mousing over it. Okay, what was the other one? All right, now walk over here, mouse over it. Okay, which was the best of the three? It's a lot easier if we had just had a way where we could just see what our choices are. But now let's go to a super advanced program called Paint. And let me tell you, again, I think one of the problems here. So there's a bunch of different things that you can buff. Let's say you can buff the spires, and you can buff the masses, and you can spawn the hellborn. And there's stuff with there's generic stuff with I don't know, the aether fiends or the aether bosses. And there's also the bosses, the demons. And then there's also chaos over here, right? The chaos portals. So we have 10 waves in the regular infernal hordes. So the way that I would imagine this, and the way that I see Blizzard trying to do this, is they're trying to give you some more interesting choices that kind of stack up on these different mechanics. So each run might be a little bit different. Like maybe in run 1 you get all the spire stuff, and in run 2 you get most of the mass stuff, and you have different gameplay there, but hopefully the ether at the end is it kind of balances out, and they're all valuable. But this is I'm unable to do this effectively. Now here's why. There's a couple of reasons. First thing, let's talk about the first thing I talk about at the beginning, which is the chaos portals. Whenever a chaos rift comes up, unless I'm missing something, you always have to choose this because it has a chance to give you the goblins. If you get the goblins, you get so much ether that's gonna outweigh any reward at any tier for any of these that I was able to see. And these spawn pretty often. Like I think I had one run where out of the 10 waves, it was 4 of them. And that's really cool. It's giving me a lot of ether. I like doing the chaos waves more than the other ones, but it really kind of dilutes or takes away from the entire idea of building a strategy. So there's a couple of different ways you could do this. You could make this more scarce. You could give the chaos thing its own build, like each one that you gather over and over and over has some mechanic that changes it or makes it harder, or maybe there's different tiers of the chaos rifts that you get or something like that. And I'm sorry, I just have so many ideas. So then another thing is like the bank of how many of these things that you seem to be able to get is not that many. Like spires, I saw the one where they spawn less often, but they spawn more ether, which I already explained. I don't really understand. I don't even know if I want that for if I'm stacking spires, and that wouldn't be my first choice if I was doing anything else either. So I'm not really sure why I would ever pick that one. And then there's you get a one ether for every monster kill within the zone. That one's really good because it's hard to get them in the zone. And then you added another one, which is amazing, which is like all kills count as within the zone. So that's amazing. So if you get these two together and you're spawning spires all the time, now I feel good about it. I've made a strategy on this particular run. I got these choices. I made a good little build here, and I'm pumping. I like that. But with how frequently these chaos things spawn, first of all, there aren't that many choices, and you're taking away out of my 10 choices. I'm losing quite a few of them every run. So you could either make chaos portals have their own progression to it. You could make chaos portals, when you select them, also let you select one of these. You get one of the bonuses that just applies, and you go forward. That way you feel less bad about picking the chaos thing and you're still making a build. But I think we need more choices here. And for some of these, they don't even have choices. For example, the bosses. It's always just a demon attacks you for 75 ether, and it's always the burning butcher. I did it like 3 or 4 times. It was the same thing every time. So if there's a different variant, I didn't see it. The generic things could be really good as well to supplement the other things, the generic choices. When you just don't get don't just get like 10 bonuses of masses. So to summarize this without rambling too much, without going too deep into this, I think you've done better. I think this is way better than the old Infernal Hordes. It's got some different things to it. The different chaos waves are really good. The chaos waves are random and they're very rewarding. The Bartuk fight, I think, is cool. It's a cool, different option. He dropped really good loot. It was rewarding to kill him. All of that is great. I just think we need to think a little bit more about what does an ideal Spire run look like, and what really cool 6 or 7 things would I get for it? What generic ideas do you have? For example, masses can no longer spawn bonus ether to all other things. If you got that at like round 1, then you're cooking, and then all of a sudden you would eliminate the mass choices and things would be easier going forward. Yada, yada, yada. I've got a million ideas. I don't want to sit here and ramble for a million years. It's better. I saw some of the different the new item where the legendary power moves to a different item. It's got a different beam. It's got a different hue in the inventory. I looked for that. I was like, do they look different? Yes, they do. Good job there. Adding some theory crafting to the game. All of the old generic complaints about the end game and the itemization and the crafting, they're still there, but I get it. You're working on it. Okay. Well, we'll look forward to when those are fixed. I guess that's about it. I really don't have anything else to say. Did any of you guys try this? Does this move the needle for any of you guys? Will you guys be excited to jump back in? I did try the perks, by the way. Perks, not powers. Felt similar to the other powers to me. It's cool. It's whatever. Reputation board. Get your seasonal currency, level it up, get better perks. Yeah, I don't know. So you guys tell me what you thought, but kind of like I thought in the patch notes, I think this is a step in the better direction. Let's see if they can make changes from the PTR to when it goes live. But for what it's worth, for me, this is a better effort than what I've seen in the past. And that's about it. I've got a ton of Last Epoch guides coming out in the next day or so, because it starts in 2 days. And then there's a ton of POE2 info coming, and lots of other cool things are coming very soon. Can't wait to cover it with you guys. Thank you.